Hi, my name is Steven, and I make fonts as arrow type. Thank you for joining. Today, I will be looking at Kyrios again, as I have in my recent videos, and kind of sharing the progress, plus showing a few of the more slightly technical sides of how I've been working on this. Not everything, of course, works well in a YouTube video. So, for instance, if I'm doing coding or build setup work, I mostly don't record and share that because it's hard to narrate aloud as I'm thinking about things that actually require some thought. So I'll kind of show roughly how I've done that. But yeah, try to keep it more visual. And I don't have a hard agenda. Partly, I'm just trying to figure out how much more do I have to do before releasing this update to future fonts? I think there's quite a lot of value I've already added, but it's not quite there yet. In some ways, it's quite far off, but in some ways, it's kind of close. My goal, I think, will be to get this update out by around October 1st, if at all possible. I have a day job, so that is going to be possibly a little tough. It should be really easy. I don't know. Fonts are funny. They can go fast, but they tend to be slow. For me, perhaps. But yeah. Um, the reason I would want to get it out by October 1st, of course, is that maybe this is a bit of a Halloween-ish font. I don't want to box it into that, but I think that black letter fonts are great for Halloween parties. And so I would feel like it was a fun time to kind of release an update to this black letter. Yeah, so let's, this is all of the exporting glyphs, and you can see that I've made them, almost all of them, bold. I added a series of black letter numerals because previously the only numerals in this family were kind of like Art Nouveau numerals, sort of modern numerals, and they fit with the overall default Lombardic caps, I would say, but they don't really fit with the stylistic set black letter caps. Yeah, so that was a big addition. I also have looked at simplifying the ampersand situation plus adding a black letter one. Previously, I had like 3 ampersands. 2 of them were alternates, and none of them I really loved. I think I like this one quite a lot. Yeah, not 101% sure about it, but I think it's pretty cool. So before I keep rambling, let me show a word I'm at. Let's generate some random words, and it'll look a lot better this way, potentially, or at least it'll be a better way of showing where we're at. So what's available today is the display regular and the text regular. And these have stylistic set 1, which activates black letter capitals. If you want a more, I don't know, harmonious look, you could say, potentially, or if you like, as I do, the kind of caps to stand out a little more, there are these Lombardic caps. I've turned both of these into a text ultra style, and here's the ultra caps in the stylistic set 1. One other big thing I've done in this kind of round of work is new quotes. And yeah, the previous quotes were just a little, I have some kerning issues here to sort out too. The previous quotes were a little bit too complicated, as was say the comma. So I've tried to, or I have really simplified them. I still think they look pretty fun, and they're still, to me, very clearly curly quotes, but they're a little bit pulled back and not quite like vying for attention as much as the previous ones were. Yeah, the previous ones had like more of a diamond shape, which just looks a bit much. The major thing I have not yet done that I still have to do is go through and make the accents bolder, as well as making sure they're lining up on the pre-composed glyphs properly. Yeah, that's obviously like a huge thing, and it's possibly slightly risky that I have left it sort of towards the end. However, I've already put a lot of thought into the accents on the regular sources, so I think that with a few adjustments here and there, I'll be able to get them to work pretty well. And before I get into actual drawing, let me show you kind of how I've been testing this in like a way outside of glyphs. So first of all, well, I've done a couple of cleanup bits here today. So let me just say a little bit of cleanup. This is just a git commit, so I can get back to this place if I want to. Right. So I've got exports. For instance, I'm testing out whether a light export or like a light region of this weight axis might make sense. I don't plan on doing that in the immediate future. I think regular to ultra is plenty, and maybe that's like more than this typeface needs in the first place. But yeah, I don't know. I might. So display ultra is set up here. Basically, this is the missing corner of our three masters that we have so far: display regular, text ultra, and then there needs to be a display ultra. So I've set it up as an export for now with the display optical size, and then a weight that's actually not entirely matching weight 900 of text ultra, but is kind of halfway there, because in my much earlier prototyping of like where I was shifting glyph shapes to kind of poke at what it could handle as far as boldness, look at my like Instagram or earlier YouTube videos for that, I realized that basically the display ultra could be like half as thickened as the text ultra just because it's so much more condensed. So that's why weight is 650. It's like halfway between 400 and 900. So what you can do is when you have an export in Glyphs, you can make all of the exports like not active except the one you want to export. So that's one step of it. So I'm going to generate instances. It's telling me a lot of update alignment. And yeah, mostly I'm not going to think about that too hard because I still need to do a whole full pass on the accents. So, okay, that's step one. And then step two is I go back into my masters and add other font and then display ultra, please. And let's see if this works from here. It may or may not. I've made some, I think one thing that may require some extra attention is that I've made a few of these. In fact, this incompatible masters mark is showing up now on the O slashes. And that is because I believe, yeah, I've added some like alternate layers here where it's like an RVRN thing or a rules element in a design space where like the O has a slash up to a certain weight and then it gets rid of the slash. But that is not yet set up in this export. It was just exported without the slash. So let's do that to make this compatible for our what am I saying? Okay, I'm just looking at this. So it needs the slash in the main layer, and it needs no slash in this. I think if I do it there, gives me what I want. Okay, so there's the main slash. And then here I just need to add, let's see, what's the smartest way to do this? I think potentially if I just kind of shrink it down, might get us approximately part of the way there. And then I want this to be all the way down here. Oh, come on. Oops. And let me pop this guy in the background. And then let's see what happens if I just kind of shrink these guys down by a lot. Yeah, I feel like that looks reasonably okay. Can we rescue it here? Oh God, what the heck? Okay. Let's get rid of that for a second and then make them big again. There we go. I just need these to be here in some capacity. It probably doesn't need to be perfect because ultimately I am like swapping away from this source. Yeah, that's good enough, I'd say, I think. I don't know. Okay, and then this one also needs an alternate layer at minimum 650. It should come in. Cool. And then we need I feel like, wait, maybe I'll use these. Okay, we're almost there. I think it is a bit of a process to get the compatibility going entirely. Like, I forget if this was all that was needed or if there was like a couple other steps, because I've only done it a few times to kind of just see how everything is working together. But okay, so these look like they're now compatible aside from, there we go. They needed some metrics updates. I guess you can update metrics for all masters, so like that, I think. Okay, cool. So that may be all we need. Let's just find out. Okay, so we've got our build system set up here. Fingers crossed, it all works out. This build right now is maybe slightly more complicated than it needs to be, but I'm also, I thought I could maybe simplify it, because right now I think it like builds out UFOs from what's in Glyphs, and then it uses custom written design spaces to build variable fonts and static fonts. And I thought I could just switch it to only going from Glyphs, but in the past couple of weeks, I've realized that FontMate can't quite do that in the way that I want it to do it. So this build might not be overcomplicated. Okay. I think one thing I have to do, it's basically telling me that, like, hey, your design space is pointing to a UFO that does not exist. What are you doing? It might have the wrong, yeah, it had the wrong UFO file name there. Okay, let's try once more. And I'm just kind of watching to see if this variable font builds. Okay, I think it may be working. And to be honest, it's funny. I have gone through this cycle like 3 or 4 times now. Um, kind of like exporting that or generating that instance for the display ultra and then bringing it back in as a master and then fixing 1 or 2 compatibility issues and then building it. Um, it's not so bad because there's only ever like 1 or 2 glyphs, like the O slashes we looked at, that require a compatibility step. Maybe I will like chuck it on my desktop, like just those glyphs or something, so I can copy them back in, because I'll probably be doing a lot more cycling of this in the upcoming couple of weeks to really finish things off. So I think it already built the variable fonts, and now it's going through and like building the static fonts and the static trial fonts and everything. Let's take a look. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so we have our variable font. Let's just kind of like pop it open in Font Goggles to see how it's going. As the build literally just finished. So that's cool. In fact, let's open it all. Come on, I want you on this screen, please. We've got our statics. Kaboom. So yeah, we've got our variable font and our static fonts. This is Font Goggles, very helpful application. What's up, YouTube? So you can see the family is still slightly simplified. I don't know if I'm going to make more instances. I probably will, I guess, make like a medium and an extra bold. In a way, it's sort of appealing to me to only have 9 instances here. I don't know. The variable font is the main thing for me, sort of. And I'm pretty stoked that this is working. So we've got our weight and our optical size. And I still have some fixing to do on the optical size master. Like you can see, this S looks ridiculous, but not too bad. There's very few kinks here overall. Like maybe, yeah, you can see bits and pieces. So it'll be worth fixing up for sure. But it won't probably take that long because I've been very careful about cool. And it's swapping to the like text forms, which is really nice to see. Because I've been pretty careful about drawing the text ultra, the compatibility is working out such that it's, yeah, looking pretty good. Black letter caps looking nice. Hello everyone. Yeah. Yeah. So from here, yeah, I'd better some of this needs fixing, I guess. It's swapping. This is kind of cool in some way, maybe, but it's swapping to like text forms, but not being overridden by SSO1, which is a problem that needs fixing, because this should all be black letter, but now it's kind of this mix of not Lombardic, and black letter. Yeah. Sweet. So now that I've done that, I think actually before doing the accents, my next step will be proofing out what I've got here. And one thing I'm curious about, for instance, no pun intended, is whether the letter spacing is appropriate. I don't necessarily think it is yet. I think it's too tight in the ultra by a little bit, maybe. Um, that might partly depend on what kind of part of the font we're talking about, but basically, in my mind, a text font needs to be slightly on the loose side to be nice and readable at small sizes, and then a display font should be quite narrow and compact. But right now, this is maybe somewhere in between. Like, it doesn't have the same amount of breathing room as the regular. So I think possibly I need to just like bump it open by a few units on every letter and then go back and do a spacing exercise to get things right. So yeah, let's set up some proofs and kind of poke at that and then figure out how to do that to these letters. Hey, so I've taken a few minutes. Well, if you're keenly observing the lighting and the time, I've taken some time away. But I also took a few minutes to update the Kyrios specimen and think through some questions and I guess look for some questions to think through. So part of what I'm doing is thinking like, how does this feel to use as just like a graphic designer using a set of fonts? And to be honest, that kind of makes me interested in just having a more limited range of static weights. I'm not positive about that. There's benefits to having more granularity or less granularity. So I haven't totally made up my mind, but there's something nice about just having regular, bold, and ultra in display, standard, and text. So considering it, still have to update these glyph pages in the specimen, but yeah, it was useful to kind of take the specimen that was made for just one weight through multiple op sizes and consider how the weight is working in it now. And one thing that kind of jumps out at me is that in some places the ultra is feeling a little tight, probably. Some places it's feeling pretty good. So to be honest, I mean that's the extrapolated version, so we can't think too much about that. Here is the text page. I was honestly thinking about this most of all because it's what I've been working on. And yeah, kind of a few things surfaced to me. One, this feels a little better if after adding 20 units of tracking. So that equates to 10 units extra per side in the 1000 UPM font. And yeah, I think I will do that. I also printed this out to kind of see it at actual scale. And that showed me things like, I don't know how clear any of this is, but like the A is pretty narrow, actually, relative to the lowercase. The, say, descender of P is too short, especially in the ultra. The R, lowercase r, has too much space in the text ultra. Maybe, did I say this already? The word spaces feel a little bit wide. Yeah, there's honestly like quite a bit of chaos in the spacing. So I just have to go through and do a spacing process before I can evaluate that more closely. So there's kind of a lot of things, but it's helpful to see. Um, and I definitely didn't circle all the things that are on my mind. One thing I find useful is to write to-do lists, in like GitHub issues, for instance. This has a lot of to-do lists, but actually, while we're here, I can probably check a few of these off. So, this reminds me that I haven't yet done currency symbols in black letters, but I have done numerals and this symbols, quite a bit of etc. Um, yeah, this might be. I think I might just like eliminate some of the um, extra ampersands for the sake of sanity of the family. Um, yeah, there's a lot of like little details here. I haven't honestly listed out some of these issues I'm coming up with now, but yeah, I'll set up what I want to do for spacing. I'm sure I've shown this. Oh, one small change I made actually is that I noticed on my specimen page that the version I just built, the R gets quite a bit more delicate here than, say, the S does. That just doesn't seem correct exactly. So I went and decided to fix that. You know what? The R actually, I'm going to also adjust that bit because that also felt a little too delicate, perhaps. Yeah, that's feeling, I'd say, better already. More similar here and there and everywhere. Right, but so let's go to our basic tag. And I'm basically going to ignore, I'll probably honestly remove this display ultra master again once more so I can kind of actually finish a full first draft of the text ultra. And then I'll go through the process again that I just showed. Then I do probably think I'll have to kind of split, like actually not split, but just keep the display ultra and actually fix all of the issues that occurred from extrapolation, but also kind of refine the text ultra as a small size ultra. And there will be, I'm sure, various refinements that go into the display ultra to work there. But yeah, basically, I'm going to use my glyph script for a spacing string. And I actually need to modify it slightly. Right now, it's using the typical H, lombardic H, and that's not actually what I want at the moment because this doesn't have a straight side. So to get our value out of spacing, I think I probably need a straight side there. So I'm going to make one. Let's duplicate this. Selected glyphs, Kyrios. I'm not going to be that clever about this. I hopefully, let's see if this works. Just like that. Let's go over to glyphs, refresh script, reload scripts. Spacing strings, Kyrios, please. Dang, I may have to. Oh, okay, never mind. That did work, sort of. That put h.text there. So maybe this will be relatively fast. Fingers crossed. Except I don't know why it went on its own line. Oh, I see. I see. I think the text starts with these. I see. Right. And then, yeah, the text starts with those just to give, I could have probably done this in a cleverer way. Like I could have replaced the H with h.text. Maybe I'll think about that. I'll work on that potentially to make this more flexible. For now, I just want to get it working to do what I'm immediately going for. All right, why did that not work? Come on. Let's look at our macro panel. There might be some sort of issue. Oh, macro palette says syntax issue on line 37. Oh, because it says if SCN name. Okay, you know what? We'll keep that there just for now. We'll reload our scripts. I don't know if I have to reload the scripts actually. Okay, so something is wrong. But we're getting closer. I see. We have a bunch of doubled up I see. I definitely do need the slash there. Here we go. I think I got it. Looks like it. Right. So cool. Now we have straight-sided H's, which will work better for our general spacing. And I'll want to turn off kerning for now to get that spacing working. I will also, I guess, want to go figure out the right script. I don't actually know offhand, unless there's one here. How does... just get committing and pushing so I can go back. I mean, I also could just close this without saving, but it's nice to have the double layer of safety. So where is it? Shoot. Adjust side bearings. Cool. Multiply. No, thank you. Add units. 10. Current master only. Yes. These seem good. And oh, the git commit was also probably helpful because I can save that change and see if it did what we want. So that's interesting, the anchors. So the nodes all moved up by 10, which is good in the X dimension. Did the width, how do I read this? I would expect the width to have bumped up. Why did it not? I guess one place I could... Okay, it did, I think. Yeah, that previous width I was looking at is probably for the other master layer. And the other thing we could do is to look at our symmetrical glyphs like O. And yeah, so that was 40. Or it's still symmetrical. If the width hadn't changed, it would no longer be symmetrical. So, I mean, I had assumed it would work because the script is written by one of the people who works on Glyphs itself. But yeah, this is good. It's 20 extra units, pretty much exactly what I want applied symmetrically because everything moves over by 10 units in the X dimension, and then the width went 20 units. So that is looking good. And so from here, after that, with my kerning off, I'll go through and I will do this for all of these, and then do it for like the black letter alts and the symbols and the numerals and all of it. And I think that'll be really good. I'm just realizing that the one glyphs that I probably shouldn't change the dimensions of are the tabular numerals. However, I might be breaking the rules in these tabular numerals and only keeping them tabular within the style. I almost never would do this. Usually I think tabular numerals should stay consistent between all weights, but these weights are like pretty wildly varied, and this is basically a display font. So if somebody is setting like an Excel spreadsheet in this font, the tabular numerals aren't going to line up perfectly, but I don't think many people are going to be in that situation. So the number is likely 0, in fact, or close to it. Yeah. And what I mean by going through this is like here I see, for instance, that this B looked kind of too big of a gap on... In fact, I'm going to hide the metrics while I do this. This is probably particularly true after our bulk changed there. But basically, the gap looked bigger here than here and bigger here than here. So that calls for tightening it up a little bit. That's partly because the B has this like extra blip here, which gives it a little more space. But yeah, basically we want to try to balance all of the control characters and do as little as possible with kerning. So that makes sense to match O. Could bump out a little bit on the right side probably. Yeah. So a lot of these are looking pretty okay so far. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep going through this and we'll get there. So I'm gonna sign off again. Hope you're doing well. Thanks.